Right, if you've just found me on here, then some backstory and some context is probably going to be useful, because this is the slightly awkward part where a guy who spent years building brands for global organizations now has got to sit in front of a camera and build his own personal brand, right? But the truth is, what I'm building now matters more than any job title than I've ever had, because it's built on real experience, it's built on real transformation, and now it's built on real results for my clients. And here's the moment that changed everything for me, the final piece of the puzzle that turned years of internal work into a completely different way of living. And yeah, on paper, I'd already made it. A career at Man United, Team Sky, INEOS, big job in private equity, big title, big life, big salary. But deep down, I was still asking myself that brutal question, is this it? And here's the thing, right? My transformation didn't start when I broke free of the corporate matrix. That came later. By then, I'd already made it, right? The guy who's got his shit together, performing. I'd quit alcohol. I'd done my first Ironman marathons, ultramarathons. I'd done one of the hardest foot races on the planet, rebuilt my body, my habits, my mindset, proved to myself that I could do hard things and that I could fully commit to becoming someone new and transform. But even with all of that, I knew there was still something that I hadn't faced, right? It was something that had been sitting with me for over 10 years. And it was months before my dad passed, over 10 years ago. And he knew at that moment in time that something was coming. He knew it was the end. We were sitting together one afternoon, and he just broke down out of nowhere, sort of completely overcome with emotion. And he didn't say much, because he never did, even when it came to emotions, or especially when it came to emotions. But he didn't have to, right? Because we both knew what it was. It wasn't about work, it wasn't about money, it wasn't about missed promotions. It was much bigger than all of that. It was about life, the depth of it, the feeling of it, and the moment that he hadn't fully lived. The words that he'd never spoke, right? The risks that he never took, the dreams that he'd quietly buried along the way. It was all there. It was written across his face. And that moment hit me harder than anything he ever said to me out loud, right? Because in that silence, I saw my own future. And I didn't want to live a life of quiet desperation. And that all fired me up. It fired me up to act, not to leave shit on the table. Fast forward to November last year, and I was there, still sitting at my desk, emails flying, meetings booked, salary landing, surrounded by everything that I thought I wanted and I'd been working towards. And I still thought, I can't do this anymore. Just can't do it anymore. Not because I couldn't handle it, but because I'd outgrown it. The image of my dad kept on coming back. I wasn't climbing the ladder that I thought I was climbing. I was stuck on it. And I knew deep down that I just had more to give. And that's when I made the decision to back myself fully, to stop performing and stop playing small and go all in on myself. And that was the final piece of the puzzle. I'd rebuilt my health, I'd found my edge again. But this was about freedom and about purpose and about ownership. And that's where and why Onto was born. Okay, it's not just a coaching program, it's not just a business, it's a way of life, being on in the moment and moving to the future that you actually want. Most people are good at one, right? I coach on both, because it's not enough to be present if you're not progressing, and it's not enough to chase goals if you've lost connection with who you really are. And here's the truth that changed everything for me. It became crystal clear after losing my parents. Okay, the only limitation that we have are the ones that we impose on ourselves, and you don't need permission to invest. You just need to make a decision, right? And if you don't make it now, one day you might find yourself just looking back and feeling all the things that you didn't do, all the words that you didn't say, the bold steps that you never took. I knew that I couldn't let that be me, right? And I don't want it to be you either. So if any of this hits home, if you've ticked all the boxes but still feel like something's missing, then trust me, you're not broken. You're probably just stuck in someone else's story, and it's time to write your own. So subscribe if this landed, right? Because this is what I'm all about. Share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you're ready now to back yourself fully, then message me, right? Because when you stop waiting for permission and go all in on your own vision, everything changes. I'll see you in the next one.